Good morning, and thank you very much for the invitation. I'm the first speaker of session one, which is funding innovation, and I will try to explain what we are doing in the EU, in Europe, on the other side of the Atlantic, in terms of eco-innovation, how we want to improve the conditions for eco-innovation in this current context, which is, you know, as it has been already described, the crisis, as well as the difficulty we have to promote an efficient environmental policy on both sides of the Atlantic. First, few words about the Commission. You've got already my pedigree. Commission is kind of equivalent to the federal government in the US. And we are trying to create, harmonize some aspects of the regulations between member states. You know that the EU, for the time being, is made of 27 member states. Soon we will be joined by Croatia to make 28 member states, speaking different language, having different culture, and it's not an easy task. Among that, environment is one of the main power we have in the Commission at the federal level, and we have a lot of duty to harmonize environmental conditions in member states. But since 2008, since the crisis, we do recognize that it's very difficult to sell any new environmental policy, to set up standards for water quality, air quality, and waste, without, at the same time, promoting the condition for business, social inclusions, and employment. That's why we decided to create, in the current political context, the condition to improve the condition in the EU for eco-innovation. For that, we have different drivers. The first was the political driver, which is really my domain, where our president decided to set up so-called the EU 2020 targets, which is really to match competitiveness, growth, and social inclusion under the current climate. And eco-innovation has been identified as one of the main tools to achieve these goals. And we are not starting from nothing. We work on eco-innovation for years. But, you know, we do recognize that we've not achieved what we wanted under the former action program, so-called Environmental Technology Action Plan. That's why we've decided to produce a new plan, which is more or less stemming from the former plan, and which has been adopted end of 2011. We start now implementing it, and we have a lot of problems to implement it because of the different culture in member states. The problem that also adding additional layers or regulation or administration to member states for the time being in the EU is not an easy task. And that's why we decided to work on the main drivers and barriers you all know on eco-innovation. And I see colleagues around the table who know very well the topic. And we have two main problems to solve. The first is that we've worked for years on production of eco-innovation, production side of eco-innovation, not so much on demand for eco-innovation, which, as you know, through the prices, drive the market and drive the investment. The second issue is that we produce a lot of regulations. Sometimes we add additional barriers to eco-innovation by producing regulations which are not always supporting eco-innovation. But we have also drivers, because as you know, we work in a very scarce environment now. No money, energy prices, no, leave the slide please, it's okay. Energy prices which increase. EU is not producing any energy in terms of non-renewable energy. We are, even for nuclear energy, we are trying to import. We import from Africa uranium. We have also the problem of material prices, which is high, and also we have the problem like environmental problem like water issues, which are starting to become very, very accurate in the EU. Therefore, having identified these barriers, I will try to outline in few slides what we are doing and what we intend to do, but also we will come back to the funding of eco-innovation. Next slide, please. Therefore, we have a set of actions, and the first one, which is really how to make the regulations, You should know that the Commission, the federal government in the EU, is producing more or less 95% of the regulation dealing with environment in member states. Therefore, we produce regulation. We have produced since 90s a lot of regulation standards, limit values for quality, water quality, requirements for coastal zones, requirements for thresholds, ceilings for air quality, and requirements for waste in particular. And now we've seen, for instance, that some regulation increase eco-innovation or create conditions, like our new REACH program for chemicals, where we've introduced an obligation for business to replace dangerous chemicals by less or no dangerous chemicals. That trigger eco-innovation. Some other regulation, like standards for emissions, for instance, don't increase conditions for eco-innovation because we rely on the best standards without obliging the market and business and people to invent new standards and such, obliging the business and the people to invent new process which might improve conditions for eco-innovation. Therefore, for that, we committed ourselves in this year on water, last year on water, this year on air, and next year on waste, to make sure that this regulation will trigger eco-innovation. And as you know, the regulation, the standards are the main driver for eco-innovation. We've seen that for climate change requirements, and I think that's an important issue, highly political. Action 2, which is really to continue to support funding for eco-innovation, but as you know, you might see that I will tell you later that we have not so much funding means because we have at the federal level. Mainly eco-innovation is run by member states, but as you know better than myself, better on regional and local level than at the EU level. What we are trying to do in this framework is try not to damage more the condition for eco-innovation. Therefore, we continue to support market and application projects. We are now discussing and negotiating the next financial perspectives, how much money the member states will give to the federal government for the next 7 years to come. And for that, we will get more money to continue to support market application projects in SMEs in particular, and we will move for 35 million per year, which is really very low, to reach 200 million per year. We continue to support networks. We've seen that networks between partners, regulators, politicians, business is the main tool to improve conditions for eco-innovation, exchanging knowledge, information, experience, and that's what we are doing today also in particular, are very good things for eco-innovation. To that, we continue to support clusters and partnerships. Partnership is an issue because we've discovered after years of regulation that regulation has its limit. And it's better sometimes to mobilize actors, in particular for water. We've heard about water. We realize now that we've reached a very high level of quality of water in the EU. But what we are facing now is problem of quantity. We lose a lot of water through the pipes. We have consumers, we choose more and more water, education in particular, and on that we work on partnerships, on soft approach to mobilize instead of obliging with regulations. Next slide, please. Standards, the same. We are the main producers of standards. We realize that standards sometimes create and improve conditions for eco-innovation, but we've realized also that we have to think, like in Japan, to new types of standards, because now when you have achieved a standard, you comply with the law, and you stop your activities, and you don't trigger any innovation more. And at the same time, you rely completely on the acquis, which is not a good thing for innovation. We are thinking with Japan, we have a lot of exchange of experience with Japan on so-called dynamic standards. It's kind of standards, when you reach the standards, no, it's not valuable, you have to reach another one, which is what I will explain that more if you want on a bilateral basis. And we launch also a lot of initiatives, in particular the one which is an initiative aiming at assessing the environmental footprint of products we allow to place on the market. On terms of finance, which is really on more on this linked with the theme of this session, we continue to finance and we target more and more SMEs. The network of financiers, we try also to improve between different partners, and that we have already discussed with colleagues. We try to continue to support networks, because if we don't support networks between member states at EU level, who will do that for us? It's very difficult. We are the only institution better placed to do so. We try also to work on the demand side for eco-innovation, which is really to make sure that what is placed on the market as process, products or technique is really something which can lead to an additional price, because we think that eco-innovation will be promoted through the market only, by the prices. Therefore, if a label like Green Label we had in the past demonstrate that it's a good product, a good technology, the producer should be able to add an additional price, helped by the regulation. We continue to work the Enterprise Europe Network, but my colleague will talk about that more in depth, which is an initiative to, we put stakeholders together and we support a network of university people, SMEs, regulators, to try again to make them talking to each other, to exchange experience and knowledge. And smart specialization strategy, we try to, in big funds like structural funds, which is money made available at federal level in the EU to support infrastructures, big money in member states, bridge, streets, roads, and the rest of it. We try to mainstream our concern in these big funds, in particular in the cohesion policy, in the next financial perspective. Next slide, please. International cooperation, here we are. We are cooperating internationally. I'm trying to be part of this network of Chamber of Commerce. We have a lot of technology platforms with India, with South America, like Brazil, where we try to support initiatives aiming at putting SMEs together, to bring SMEs from EU to Brazil, and the same on the other side to exchange technology. We've stopped with China for obvious reasons, and we now discussed this morning informally that we should do more with the US, because we have really common interest to share and also to try to understand why the US has not found a market in EU SMEs. UNEP, we work also through international bodies. Through UNEP, we have initiative, clean production centers, but UNEP is more the driver. We try to support UNEP in this field, but to try really to create the conditions to have a nice exchange of information. We would like to export technology in other countries, but also we would be keen to import technology for the others, with the caveat that technology is to be exported, but should be protected also. Action 6, which is main issue in the EU. We have a huge problem in the EU. We have an unemployment rate which is increasing with the time, and we discovered that for eco-innovation we need specific skills, in particular engineers, very specialized skills, and we understand that in the EU the production of skills doesn't match with the need. Therefore, we have to put in place a policy which make anticipating the needs for skills, and by the way, fighting against unemployment, matching 5 years in advance, try to match the needs to the production of skills. And for that, we have to work with university and network. And the partnerships, which is really the new means we have to regulate or not to regulate at EU level. I've tried to introduce that. We've done that on water, to move from water quality to water quantity. We do the same on raw materials, to try also to put together partners to try to have kind of common understanding on how to use raw material and what are the best practices. But what is interesting is the smart cities and communities, which is really matching our concerns in terms of air quality. We try to promote initiative in more or less 10 big cities in the EU. If we cover 10 big cities in the EU, we cover 25% of the population of the EU. And we try to make sure to try to promote initiative, trying to promote the new system of transport in the cities, in particular electric car, how to deal with the cars in the centers. We've seen that coming in Atlanta, and that is really a problem in the EU, and we are supporting this initiative, finding alternative means for transportation. Next slide, please. And the last one is mobilizing with member states. We try to make member states meeting together and trying to report through roadmaps where they are for each of the actions, And for that, we have difficulties because member states want to keep that for them, and the national level in the EU is not the right level to do that. I think we should do more with regions and municipalities, and we have a lot of resistance from member states to try to report and to follow up, to monitor the progress of eco-innovation condition in the EU. We have the fora we organize twice a year. The next one will be in Prague, where we will focus on air, because air quality is one of our priorities this year. Last year was water, next year will be waste. We review all the connecting policy, and we need stakeholders. We support a big stakeholder, Sevens. Mina has been invited to one in Finland, and where we exchange data and information which lead to recommendations we feed into the legislation and our initiatives. Last slide, I hope, please. And for that, we have larger ambition under the next financial perspectives. You will see the figures. We try to increase the figures. We start from 433 million to 3 billion, 0.6 for the next financial perspectives, which is relatively modest envelope, as you know, in comparison with others, or at national level in particular. But we've seen that the politicians are following us, and innovation is really one of the next challenge to fulfill. Therefore, that's finished my presentation. You might have afterwards my internet site. Okay, that's a summarization of the 3 actions we have: financial instruments, partnership with the EIB, European Investment Bank, networks, that's 300.8 million, and we have market applications, I've already explained. On financial instruments, that's kind of a partnership we have with big investors to try to mitigate the valley of death. You know all the valley of death between market application and the market, but that also we have trying to increase the envelope.